As the two-day conference of the Chiefs of Defense Staff from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, concluded in Ghana, a significant announcement emerged regarding a planned intervention in Niger. The Chiefs of Defense Staff revealed that they have established a specific date for the commencement of the invasion of Niger, underscoring the seriousness of their intentions. The planned invasion is awaiting official orders to be set into motion. The military intervention will involve the participation of ECOWAS member countries, which have committed to contributing troops for this operation. Notably, this military involvement excludes nations that are currently under suspension or governed by military regimes. These countries include Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea, as well as Cape Verde. During the conference, other matters were addressed by ECOWAS Commissioner Abdel Fattah Moussa, although these details will be elaborated upon later. The situation appears to be dire, signifying that a military invasion of Niger is looming on the horizon. This circumstance raises questions about the United States' preparation to safeguard its interests, particularly about drone bases situated in Niger. This preparation came to light through statements by the Air Force Commander for Africa, who disclosed that the United States is actively strategizing for the evacuation of its drone bases in Niger. To facilitate swift evacuation, the U.S. is exploring the possibility of utilizing allied African countries within the Sahel and Sahara regions. The challenges faced by the U.S. military within Niger are multifaceted. Following a coup, the American forces have significantly curtailed their activities, largely confining themselves to their military bases. This shift has led to a decline in training exercises and humanitarian efforts. If the U.S. aims to uphold its claim-neutral stance, it might be prudent for them to consider withdrawal. The lack of reciprocal appreciation can undermine international collaborations. This sentiment extends to U.S. taxpayers who fund operations in Niger and may question the absence of a corresponding commitment. In confronting the current circumstances, the option of closing down and withdrawing U.S. forces appears increasingly probable. The potential logistical challenges and the possibility of abandoning equipment, similar to the situation in Afghanistan, necessitate a measured approach. The rationale behind such a withdrawal revolves around avoiding complications that might arise during a chaotic departure. Within Niger, there are visible signs of discontent regarding foreign military presence. Protests have taken place near French military installations, demanding their departure. It remains unclear if similar demonstrations have targeted U.S. military bases in Niamey and Agadez. Despite Niger facing insurgency challenges which have escalated post-coup, the U.S. asserts its mission to support and train Nigerian forces against this threat. However, if calls for the closure of U.S. military bases persist, the U.S. may be left with little recourse but to comply, allowing Nigerians to handle their security concerns autonomously. Amidst these developments, there is an apparent shift in power dynamics within Niger. Given the growing popularity of the military leadership, there are indications that the ousted leader, Bazoum, might not be reinstated to power. Noteworthy is the evacuation of families and loved ones of high-ranking military officials in Niger. Reports suggest that these individuals have been relocated to Burkina Faso, en route to Dubai. Sources within the military circles have confirmed this evacuation, revealing that Gulfstream G-550 aircraft were used for this purpose. The selective evacuation prompts concerns about the well-being of the less privileged citizens in the event of imminent hostilities. The coordinated preparation by both the United States and Niger's military for evacuation underscores the anticipated gravity of the situation. The actions being taken suggest an alignment of intelligence and strategic concerns. While the United States hesitates to label the events in Niger as a coup, they may be hoping for diplomatic resolutions that could potentially sway the course of events and facilitate Bazoum's return to power. However, given the evolving landscape and the perceived popularity of the military, this outcome is far from certain. The key dilemma here revolves around whether the speaker is articulating the views of ECOWAS leaders or expressing his own opinion. Given his role as a commissioner and representative, it is assumed that he is speaking on behalf of ECOWAS. This assumption stems from the representative nature of his position. However, it is important to dissect his statements critically. Primarily, Mr. Fattah Moussa, and other ECOWAS leaders must acknowledge that no national constitution inherently accounts for the occurrence of a military coup. Such provisions are typically absent because drafters and lawmakers did not anticipate such events. Instead, most constitutions address unsuccessful coup attempts as acts of treason. However, when a military coup succeeds, it is often characterized as a revolution rather than treason. In the context of Niger, the military is now in control, transcending the authority of the constitution. Operating through decrees, they are above constitutional limitations. Consequently, charging them with treason becomes problematic, given their position as the current authority. Furthermore, the Nigerian constitution does not stipulate the involvement of ECOWAS, ECOMAGI, or external forces in the event of a successful military coup. Many West African democracies were established following the reign of military regimes, which later handed over democratic constitutions. Interestingly, the Nigerian population does not seek ECOWAS intervention to oust the military leadership and reinstate Bazoum. The motivations of ECOWAS leaders appear to be influenced by external forces. They need to reconsider the implications of declaring war on Niger, as it would disproportionately impact Nigeria. The interconnectedness of West African nations underscores that declaring war on one's region is nonsensical. ECOWAS, being an economic community and trade union, does not entail the surrender of member states' sovereignty upon joining. Consequently, ECOWAS and ECOMAG lack the authority to wield sovereign power over member states. The call is for ECOWAS to channel its efforts into resolving individual issues and allow Niger to address its challenges. The mode of engagement adopted by ECOWAS is a blend of incentives and pressures, yet this approach might not be effective with military leadership. The dual strategy involves both coercion and urging them to negotiate on their terms. It appears that ECOWAS might not be negotiating in absolute good faith. In light of this, it might be more prudent for ECOWAS to proceed with its intended actions rather than prolong the process. By sanctioning and then threatening military intervention, ECOWAS has inadvertently exacerbated the situation. The imposition of sanctions could push Niger to seek alternatives and circumvent the punitive measures. If such tactics succeed, the efficacy of the sanctions would be undermined, reinforcing Niger's position. ECOWAS leaders must avoid escalating the situation out of pride. Rather, they should acknowledge their errors and adhere to Niger's demand for sanctions removal, which could pave the way for constructive negotiations. The concept of unconstitutional means warrants further analysis. Does this encompass actions like tenure elongation, political coups, election rigging, and the installation of a candidate who falls short of constitutional prerequisites? For instance, in Nigeria, a judicial precedent interpreted a constitutional section to bar Tinubu from meeting requirements, yet he was declared the winner by the Electoral Commission and inaugurated by the Buhari administration. This outcome remains under legal contestation. Curiously, ECOWAS has not addressed these forms of unconstitutional actions. Instead, the individual involved in these activities adopts a confrontational stance while simultaneously bullying and threatening Niger. This attitude underscores the underlying issue. When corrupt politicians manipulate electoral processes, resort to election rigging, and exploit their way to power, ECOWAS and the Western world seldom condemn such actions. The willingness to secure power through illicit means generally results in poor governance. If democracy fails to deliver tangible benefits and alleviate poverty, it risks triggering increased criminal activity and societal instability. In such cases, military coups might transmute into revolutions aiming to rectify political chaos. Historical examples such as Ghana emphasize how military interventions emerged as mechanisms to cleanse political systems, allowing countries to start anew on a foundation of reformed governance. In the case of Nigeria, a true revolution never materialized. Instead, the military took control and often engaged in more extensive corruption than the politicians they ousted. This pattern spanned from figures like Buhari, who removed the democratically elected Sheikh Shagari from power, to Babangida, who orchestrated a counter-coup against Buhari, and Abacha, who staged a palace coup to overthrow the interim government left by Babangida. Abacha's regime notably annulled Nigeria's most transparent and equitable presidential election in 1993. During their tenures, these leaders embezzled billions of dollars from Nigeria's coffers. Babangida, for instance, struggled to account for the over $12 billion in oil revenue earned by Nigeria during the Gulf War in 1991. Abacha went on to pilfer and launder more than $5 billion from the nation. Even today, Western countries continue to repatriate millions of dollars stolen and laundered by Abacha over 25 years ago. It is essential to delve into the underlying causes of military coups. Such uprisings might stem from personal grievances, where coup leaders are fed up with corrupt politicians amassing wealth while soldiers are paid paltry sums, often less than $100 per month. Individuals in this category might seize power and perpetuate the corruption they sought to eradicate. On the other hand, some coup leaders could be driven by a sense of rectitude, aiming to halt political corruption and the plundering of state resources. Their objective is to restore justice where injustice prevails. Societies devoid of justice cannot experience true peace. They are often characterized by agitation. Similarly, nations abundant in natural resources exploited by foreign entities, while their populace remains impoverished, are prone to instability. These root causes underline the occurrences of military coups in various countries, often serving as a recourse when democracy fails to address these systemic issues. When military force becomes necessary to reinstate democracy in African nations, it underscores fundamental problems within the system. If governance was effective and the benefits of democracy were widely experienced, public jubilation wouldn't accompany military coups. Instead, citizens would stand in opposition, potentially compelling military rulers to hold elections and return to their barracks. Despite the complexities evident in Niger and other countries, these factors do not inherently justify military intervention. All ECOWAS leaders and parties involved in planning an impending conflict in Niger must consider the broader implications of such a course of action in West Africa.
I wish to make our position plain beyond any matter of doubt as regards the African continent. We in Nigeria appreciate the advantages which the size of our country and of its population give us, but we have absolutely no aggressive intentions. We shall never impose ourselves upon any other country and shall treat every African territory, big or small, as our equal, because we honestly feel that it is only on that basis of equality that peace can be maintained in our continent.
The potential for a humanitarian crisis arising from such an invasion necessitates scrutiny. As preparations progress, thousands of young Nigerians are being mobilized. The question arises, will they simply be trampled upon to fulfill objectives? Military intervention is never straightforward. It is fraught with complications and unpredictable outcomes. The emphasis should be on fostering peace rather than waging war. The resources allocated for such an intervention could instead feed millions of impoverished West Africans, serving a more meaningful purpose than squandering them in an avoidable conflict. Given that Niger and various Sahel region countries are already grappling with insurgent challenges, envisioning the ramifications of another conflict in the region is a sobering reminder of potential consequences. If you are watching our video for the first time, I suggest you subscribe to our channel for more interesting and captivating information. Turn on the bell notification to get alert on all our recent posts so you won't miss out any. Share your thought in the comment section and share these videos with family, friends, and concerned Nigerians. Thanks for watching.